on the table, or if you on the table, and she will ready to go. And she can go do the checks online. She's ready to go.
Where stop? We did the first two.
Yeah, we did the first two. Yeah, there's the third category.
We did third?
Yeah, no, we didn't do the third, no.
Okay, so we'll go to the third, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Alhamdulillah. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن سار على سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So in continuing discussing the book Al-Mulakhas Al Fiqhyy by Shaykh Saleh al Fawzan Hafidullah Tabarak Ta'ala, and discussing concerning the kitab al-zakat, and discussing concerning various matters that pertain to the ahkam of zakat. So from where we had stopped in the last lesson, we're discussing concerning bab fi bayan ahli zakat وَمَنْ لَا يَجُوزْ الدَّفْعَ الزَّكَاةِ لَهُمْ. So discussing concerning those people who are the recipients of zakat, and also clarifying those people that it is not permissible for them to receive a zakat. So in the previous lesson, we discussed concerning those two categories of people that I mentioned in the ayat in Surah Al-Tawbah. As I mentioned, إِنَّمَا الصَّدَقَاتِ لِلْفُقَرَاءِ وَالْمَسَاكِينَ. So we discussed concerning those two categories of people that are deserving of zakat. So we mentioned overall that there's 8 categories of people that are deserving zakat. And we have started discussing regarding those categories, starting as according to the tartib, the order of the Shaykh, Hafidullah, that first he discussed concerning al-fuqara, and we discussed concerning all those people, the fuqara. Then also we discussed second, masakeen, that's the second group of people that are deserving as zakat. So we discussed some of those masahil that relates to those group of individuals regarding the recipients of zakat. And today, inshallah ta'ala, we'll continue discussing those other category of people deserving zakat. So I mentioned the third concerning al-amiluna alayha, regarding those people who are the one who carry out the work, the duties regarding zakat. Tafaddal.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Qala ma'alif hafidahullah. The book of Zakah, chapter 8, entitled Recipients of Zakah, page number 363. The third category involves those employed to collect zakah. Those people collect zakah from its givers, keep it, and then distribute it amongst those entitled to take it, according to the orders of the Muslims' rulers. They are to be given from zakah in return for the effort they exert, except when those in authority already give them salaries from the public treasury of Muslims in return for their work, as is the case nowadays. The government gives the salaries to the workers employed to collect zakah, and thus it is prohibited for them to take from zakah anymore. Thus it is prohibited for them to take from zakah anymore, since they are already paid for their work from another source.
Surah Hafidullah, he discussed concerning those, another group of those who are entitled to zakat, and he mentioned amiluna alayha, meaning concerning those people who carry out the duty regarding the collecting and also the distribution of zakat. So regarding al-amilun alayha, as for those people, it is their job regarding collecting zakat. It would include concerning al-jab, those people who collect the zakat, al-hafiz, the one who preserved the zakat, the katib, the one who registered and keep accounts of the zakat, and also al-qasim, and also the one who distribute the zakat. So there's a team of people that are involved regarding this particular act, regarding amilun alayha, those who are responsible for collecting the zakat. So I mentioned that all those people are included regarding those who are deserving a portion of zakat. So the Shaykh mentioned, as for those people, mentioned al-ummal alladhina yaqumuna bi jami' az-zakat min ashabiha, regarding concerning those people who are involved regarding collecting of the zakat, also those ones who preserve the zakat, also those ones who distribute the zakat, also those ones who record the zakat. So all those individuals, even concerning those who are the drivers regarding movement of the zakat and those who distribute the zakat. So all those people are considered to be the team or that department that have that responsibility regarding the collection of zakat. So all are deserving of those who are deserving the zakat. But as mentioned regarding concerning that, and those are those ones who are deserving this, that if they are not giving a salary, a set salary for them for that task by way of the state, then if they are not given a set salary, then they're entitled to zakat based upon the service that they are performing. So based upon the service of being the collectors and the ones involved, then if they are not given a regular salary by way of the state, then they are deserving a portion of the zakat that they have collected. So that's concerning those particular group. And as the Shaykh mentioned regarding concerning these collectors, that it is something which is for the state, the state to appoint that particular department or that group or that team of people to take that responsibility. So it is for the state to ensure that that team is in place. And in present day time, that we find that in most Muslim or some Muslim countries, that they have a department that is responsible for this. So regarding that, they have a department that is responsible regarding collecting the zakat, especially from those large companies. They will take the responsibility of doing the collection of the zakat and distributing it accordingly. So if those people who are involved in this, they're getting a regular salary, then they're not deserving zakat. But if they're not getting a salary, then they are compensated for this work by way of payment through some of the money, some of what they have collected by way of zakat. So that's concerning this particular case. That's concerning this particular case. Aywa.
Afwan Omar, you see, for instance, if someone had the zakat money and gave it to someone who was basically from a community that they could send it abroad or give it to people that are miskeen, can that person take a salary for distributing it? Not appointed by the Muslim ruler or the Muslim state.
In those cases, that the person concerned, because it could be anyone doing this task.
Yeah.
So generally concerned that it should be, which is that concerning is the person administrating his task properly. It normally could be something which is systemized, and better you say, we're supervised by a reputable body regarding if there's people doing this, that if the way of them receiving payment that is somewhat regulated. Because concerning you might find a person and said if he's acting as just a wakil, where just because you're not present and he's present in a different country, he's just taking from you and distributing it. So it's not per se for him a job. He just kind of somewhat use the word doing a favor. You understand? Voluntary. Then that's a different thing.
Okay.
But if the person becomes like their task that they go around and do this, then that's a different case.
Okay.
Aywa. That's concerning that category regarding, as we said, so that team will involve different individuals. Depending on what those people who make up that team, then each is giving zakat accordingly for that service. What did you mention? The fourth?
The fourth category is those given zakat to bring their hearts together for Islam. Those people fall under two subcategories: disbelievers and Muslims. The disbeliever is to be given from zakat if he is expected to embrace Islam in order to make him more willing to embrace Islam. A disbeliever may also be given from zakat in order to withhold its evil from Muslims. The Muslim can be given from zakat to strengthen his faith or to make his peer of the non-Muslims embrace Islam, or for any other sound and lawful reasons that benefit the Muslims.
So the Shaykh mentioned regarding concerning the fourth category of those people deserving the zakat, he mentioned Al-Qulub. So regarding concerning those groups that are concerned that those people have an inclination towards Islam, or those people that you're trying to entice towards Islam or to soften their heart regarding Islam. So as for those group that are called Al-Mu'allif Al-Qulub, that you're trying to sway them regarding Islam, that the author Rahimullah and the Mu'azzah, that they put them into two categories. So they put them into regarding two categories of people. So you find that of those concerning Mu'allif Al-Qulub, those who are from the Kuffar. And the second group is those who are from the Muslims. So in this case concerning zakat, where zakat as to be is ordinary giving to the Muslim. But in this particular case, it can be given to non-Muslims. So in this particular category, regarding Al-Mu'allif Al-Qulub, that it can be distributed to non-Muslim, but also it should be for a purpose. So it should be given with a purpose. So after he mentioned, as for those two categories that are said to be Mu'allif Al-Qulub, that one group are the Muslim and the other being the Kuffar, then he can somewhat explain regarding, as for Kuffar, يُعْتِئَ مِنَ الزَّكَاةِ إِذَا رجع الإسلامه, that if the person, the kuffar, that if one, that they have an inclination towards Islam, so that non-Muslim who may have an inclination to Islam, they're looking into Islam as a part of kind of somewhat to open their heart even further, then that person may be given a zakat. That one can give that person a zakat. So that's concerning that as an individual, or even at times as a group. So those who have interest in Islam, and they mentioned regarding concerning those people who are deserving that group, we look at the qara'in. What are some of the other factors to take into consideration who are said to be of mu'allif al-qulub min al-kuffar? The person come to the masjid or to the Muslim and said, no, I'm interested, can you give me material? And he kind of somewhat have a discussion about Islam, but he's showing some form of interest, some interest towards Islam, and it seems that's not valid interest. Now, so as a way to kind of somewhat to help him on his journey, or his or her journey, you might give them something from zakat, because the person is showing some real interest in Islam. Now, so those are concerning mu'allif al-qulub. Then he mentioned that's the first group. And the second group concerned, إذا حصلت كف الشر, regarding concern as giving certain group of kuffar zakat by way of trying to protect the Muslim as a body from their evil. Now, so there's a second class of another set of the kuffar who are given zakat because you want to protect the Muslim from their evil. Now, so that's concerning. So as for that group that trying to protect the Muslim from their evil, that the ulama can discuss concerning that, is it those that you're trying to protect the Muslim from the evil, is it go back to an individual case, or it goes back to the person who's said to be the leader of a group of people that can have an evil impact upon the Muslim, or could be harmful to the Muslim? So whoever is the leader of those people, then he is giving the zakat, not per se each individual from that group. Now, so like a gang, a group of them, or that you'll find who are the leaders, and they'll be given the zakat, and for them to distribute amongst their people or whatever, but it would not be given to each member of that group, but rather more so for the ru'asa, for those who are in authority. So that's concerning that particular matter. So regarding concerning if you're trying to protect the Muslim from the evil and the harms from the kuffar, then it's to give it to the leader of the group, not per se the individual. Because the individual, then we can protect ourselves, but as a collective group, then we look to the leaders. And Shaykh Sa'd al-Khatlan, he had that discussion on that particular matter regarding al-yashtarit an yakuna as-sayyid muta fi qawmi. That is regarding that protecting the Muslim from the evil of the kuffar, should we, as the condition that it should be given to the person that the leader in charge, and not the individual amongst that group. So it's more so for the leaders to be given from the ru'asa, from amongst them. So that's concerning the kuffar. They fall into two categories: individuals who have a legitimate interest in Islam, and they're showing signs that they have this interest towards Islam by seeking a book, coming to the Muslim masajid or marakiz, in seeking information about Islam, and by working with them you can see that there's a legitimate interest. Then you can give them from zakat. Then the second category of kuffar are those people concerned that we are trying to protect the Muslim from their harms. They are somewhat of detriment. They could be of detriment to the Muslim. So to protect the Muslim collectively from them, or a group of Muslim, is that give them zakat so as to change their thoughts about the Muslim. So that can be, but in that case it is given more so to those who are the ones who are in charge amongst them. Now, that's concerning the first category he mentions. Then the Shaykh he mentioned regarding the second concerning al-Muslim al-Mu'allif. So regarding concerning the second category, those Muslims who are already in Islam, but concerning that they maybe have their weakness in faith, their experience concerning that da'af al-iman, weakness in faith, in a sense that the person may not be fulfilling all their obligation as expected. So as an example, that maybe, for example, a sister not wearing hijab, but we know she's Muslim and she's struggling. For example, she's struggling. Now with certain things regarding her practice, you can see signs that she's struggling. Now that give her or him something from the zakat, now as kind of somewhat to soften their hearts, now then this is something that can be done. So it's concerning zakat, so as to help to strengthen the person's iman. Now then these things can be done regarding those who are from the Muslim but going through difficulties regarding their iman, weakness in their iman, then also they are entitled to zakat. Aywa, tafaddal.
Such people are only to be given when necessary, for Umar ibn al-Khattab, Uthman ibn Affan, and Ali ibn Abu Talib, may Allah be pleased with them all, stopped giving those people zakat when there was no necessity to give them.
So the next matter to discuss, so we have discussed concerning who are those people who are said to be mu'alif al-qulub. Now from the kuffar and from the Muslim. Now the next matter to discuss between some of the ulama is regarding that in the time of the Prophet Islam, he did so, give concerning non-Muslim zakat. Now, so the case concerned that now, does this rule, is it was something ulama discussed concerning, is this practice something which is mansukh, it is something been abrogated, or it still stands? And some who are somewhat more inclined toward that is something which is abrogated. The Prophet Islam did it, but concerning, as mentioned here, some of the Khulafa al-Rashid did not apply this. As they mentioned, Omar, Uthman, and Ali, that they didn't per se give zakat to the non-Muslim mu'alif al-qulub. So they said, but I mentioned that even though maybe a practice was done by some of the Khulafa, that the case is that it is based upon haja. If the Khalifa, those in authority, see that there's a need, it can be done. If there's no need, it can be withheld and not given. So it is based upon, as it mentioned, لِلْأَدَمَ الْحَاجَةِ إِلَيْهِ فِي وَقْتِهِمْ, that during the time of Umar, where Islam had strength, Uthman, Ali, Islam had strength. Now, so they saw it as there was no need for this, as we were trying to expand the Islamic empire, and we were doing so. Now, so if the Hakim says there's a need, he can do it, because the Muslim may be weaker compared to the non-Muslim, and the Muslim have strength, they don't have to apply. But this general rule is not something which is mansukh. It is something which is abrogated law, but it's something which is still applied, still applied, and it is applied based upon the situation and circumstance. Based upon the situation and circumstance, not something which is a removed law, but it's something which is still applicable. Aywa.
The fifth category involves the slaves indebted to get their freedom and who cannot pay their debts. In this case, such a slave is to be given what makes him able to pay his debt in order to have freedom. It is permissible for a Muslim to buy a slave with the money of his zakah and emancipate him, and it is also permissible for him to pay the ransom of a Muslim captive from the money he has assigned for zakah, for such an act leads to emancipating Muslim captives.
So the next category they mentioned as the fifth category based upon the ayah that they mentioned concerning al-riqab. So regarding those who are said to be riqab, which are those who are said to be that they are owned by others, they are properties of others. So those who are owned or said to be the property of others, you might find that a Muslim may be in such a situation that is the property or owned by a non-Muslim. So either concerning mukatib, where that is an arrangement, an agreement. So the riqab regarding concerning those Muslim who that they are somewhat owned by others. So one, there's an agreement between him, that Muslim who's in that situation, and the person who is his owner, that the agreement says that you can pay your way out. You can pay your way out and you are emancipated, you're freed. So that's the agreement. If the person Muslim in that situation, he can receive zakat to help him in his payment, to free himself and emancipate himself. The second type of people fall into riqab regarding concerning a Muslim that is on riqab in that situation that is owned by others, and out of zakat, you go to his owner and said, we want for him to be free, we pay for his freedom. We'll pay for his freedom, and we'll pay the person, and the person is paid directly, and the Muslim is automatically freed. So that can also be done. So there was no agreement between both. It's just a third party, the Muslim party came in and said, we want to free this Muslim, and this is, we're paying you to do so. So that's also can be done. And also the ulama, they discuss concerning by way of qiyas. As the Shaykh mentioned, a third group of people where those are said to be who are captives. So something you have captive by way, captives of war. Or a person who's in your stance, or a person who somewhat is held by ransom, held by the kuffar, and you want to free him from that situation. So it could be captive of war, or other reasons. You understand? So if one pays for him, he'll be released. So they mentioned by qiyas that also can be included where is in him gaining his freedom. Him gaining his freedom and emancipation. So those are the cases that can occur. So that concerning those various cases, or those cases of three categories regarding of those who are said to be in that situation, and zakat can be used regarding their release. Aywa.
The sixth category.
And the case of the person, he cannot afford it. The person cannot afford his own release. Nam to payment, so aywa, he is given.
The sixth category involves those in debt, and they fall under two subcategories. The first subcategory is the person who has fallen into debt for the sake of others in order to amend matters of difference amongst people. For example,
so the mention regarding, as mentioned, gharim. So regarding concerning those people who are in debt. The person who, as I mentioned the word al-gharim, that concerning those people whom that they have debts. Nam. So as a thing regarding that, because of that, the person is under some difficulties. So at time concern a person may have a debt. Nam. And at time a person may be, so you find that they put it into two categories regarding those people who have debt, that at times zakat can be given to them so as to help to remove this debt as a way of payment of the debt. So they mentioned, but I will discuss concerning this with certain type of conditions. So at the first, the Shaykh, they discuss concerning that, and for these people who are said to be in debt, that they fall into two categories. The first they mentioned, gharim li ghayri, a person who's a gharim li ghayri, where a person that the debt is being taken on because that he's trying to make islah between two groups who are at dispute, who are having a dispute, and he's acting as like an arbitrator. So sometimes a way of the compromise is to give them things which is money or things of wealth for them to kind of somewhat to come to an agreement. So not for both its personal benefit, is more zakat is being used kind of somewhat to use as a factor to remove that difference between those disputing fact groups. So the person, the arbitrator, he may use zakat as a way to bargain between both. أيوة تفضل.
For example, when two tribes or villages provoke the hostility of one another because of bloodshed or other properties or over properties, a person can mediate to reconcile them by taking into his liability the compensation due upon some of them in order to end the dispute. Such an act is a good deed, so it is legal to pay his debt from zakah for fear that his compensation might cause damage to his property. In addition, helping such a person may encourage others to follow his good example in ending the disputes, uprooting corruption. Moreover, the lawgiver permits the person indebted for such a reason to ask for the help from others in order to fulfill his noble objective. It is related in Sahih Muslim on the authority of Qabisa that he said to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have taken upon myself a compensation to settle the dispute between some people, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to me, wait until we receive zakah so that what we order to give you from it.
So the person who can somewhat spend that wealth is being reimbursed, so as to arbitrate between others. So from that, is given from zakat. So rather than his own personal wealth, then zakat is used to compensate him for what he had done regarding making islah, rectifying between two disputing bodies. So he mentioned regarding that, so after he mentioned that if there's dispute between a Muslim, bodies of Muslim, that he mentioned concerning either concerning matters concerning ad-dima, which is concerning blood spilling, or things concerning amwal, or things regarding wealth and property. So regarding concerning as a general thing regarding concerning that al-sul or making islah, that it have ahkam. Or regarding concerning a person wants to something, I find that others have difference, who are the person who's equipped to and have that standing where he's able to make islah. So we find that regarding concerning a sul between mutakhasimun, those who have concerning dispute, that have certain guidelines. So you find concern of those things regarding a sul, which is concerned to know that is trying to end that dispute between those who have a particular dispute. So in trying to break that dispute or to end that dispute. So a sul have different types of sul. You have different types of sul. So you have different type of sul that a person to be a man. You have sul regarding concerning that may be in time of harb. That's a different type of sul and a different type of approach. Regarding we find that that people are regarding al-harb, warring. So you have the Muslim against non-Muslim, and then to make a sul, then that's a different approach that is applied. Then you have a second type of sul regarding concerning bayna ayl al-baghi wa ayl al-adl. That you find that a group who have gone wrong, they are wrongdoers they have transgressed against another, it is clear. Then you are not there to side with the wrongdoers, but is out to the situation required because there's a dispute out to make some form of rectification, islah. But it doesn't mean that you are siding with the wrongdoers. That's a different thing. So that type of sul requires a different approach. And in most cases concerned that the one who acting that both sides agree that we will make you be the one to come between us. You understand? You can't mean, but that have a different approach. Third type of sul that sometimes occur regarding bayna zawjain, regarding concerning husband and wife. That's a different matter. Regarding concerning, and at most cases regarding sul between husband and wife, that need for the person to listen to both sides. That first you might find that one side will come with a complaint, but the person who's acting as the person, the mediator, is not for the person to come to an immediate conclusion, because they have heard one side. But until they have somewhat look and investigate the matter, hear from both sides, and it's best to have both sides at some point together so as to rectify the matter. But that's a different approach. And sometimes those type of sul regarding concerning rectifying between brothers and husband and wife, that, for example, in most cases you might find that in most cases that the wife may want to come with make the claim. You understand, to the masjid, or to the markis, or to the qadi, or whoever the person is making sul, that the brother kind of somewhat, he become very defensive. He doesn't want to go into sul and just kind of somewhat either make the situation worse type of thing. But the general thing is that sul between zawjain is something which is established and at times needed. Then the fourth type of sul regarding I mentioned that regarding concerning mal, regarding wealth, and also things regarding outside of wealth. So each requires a different approach and different rules regarding a sul. And at sul, you might find that sometimes would you find one will make a claim and the other side would either make iqrar, kind of somewhat admit, confess to the claim and that is being made against them. It's just now how to rectify the pieces in between. Because the side, yes, the claim has been made, and the person admit that what the person is bringing forward is his haqq. So now I'll try to return that haqq to that person. You with me?
Yeah.
Then you have other cases where we consider that a da'wah, a claim is made, and then the thing is that mad'u alay, the person who the claim is being made against them, that they're inkar, they are denying this thing. They're contesting it. That the claim that you're making, I don't agree, I deny it. Then that requires, you understand, to be looked into and investigated. But you have different type of as-sul. You have different matters regarding as-sul. So sul ala-inkar, sul where one side is making a denial that this thing that you're claiming is not the case. And then how to go about approaching those particular cases. But sul is something which is concerned, that occurs and need to be rectified in the best way possible. But the thing is finding those people who understand the rules and situation. They mention also arkan as-sul. We'll go back to knowing concerning that the disputing parties. So concerning that, in trying to deal concerning where you find that your person acting as an arbitrator, first identify who are the disputing parties. Who are the disputing parties involved? So that's the first thing to identify. Then is the next thing concerning that, knowing, I said, mahal al-niza. What's the area of difference that between both parties? Because sometimes people get sidetracked. So to identify what are the area of difference that between both of you. Is in understand? So if it's one thing, we live restricted to one thing. Don't draw side things involved. So is mahal al-niza. What is the area of dispute between both of you? Then also regarding that, I mentioned concerning that as-sigha, knowing concerning that how to come to a conclusion, and ijabul qabul, when one accept a group on the other side, and concerning al-badal sul, and then what is the thing to replace. You understand what I think now? Okay, to finalize things, are we going to replace or kind of somewhat that thing that may be on the dispute? So that's concerning those matters in general regarding so regarding al-zakat. Back to the topic that of those parts regarding al-gharim, those ones who are trying to make sul. That's the first category. Aywa, tafaddal. And the hadith he mentioned in Sahih Muslim, the hadith of Qabisa in Sahih Muslim, Qabisa ibn Mukhariq, Qabisa ibn Mukhariq in the Sahih Muslim. Aywa.
The second subcategory of those in debt is a person who becomes indebted for his own sake. For example, a person may want to ransom himself from the disbelievers or become indebted and cannot pay it back. In such cases, he is to be given from zakah to pay back his debt, as Allah says, and for those in debt, Quran, Surah Tawbah, Ayat 60.
As I mentioned regarding the next category of al-gharim is regarding linafsi, is that person who have a debt upon himself. So the person, he has his own debt that he has to try to rectify. So I've mentioned that that the person that, if the debt between him and the kuffar regarding freeing of himself, then he's given. And also regarding the person generally as a dain, that he needs now to pay off this debt that is owed to him, that he owes, then in that case the person can be given zakat. He can be given as zakat. But I mentioned regarding this case concerning now with condition. So regarding concerning that, the ulama rahimahullah, I mentioned regarding concerning that person who is trying to pay off a debt, that they mention bishart, that there's a certain condition, and yakuna ajiz and sidad al-dain, that a person that is unable to pay that dain. Okay, you might find a person who's wealthy and say have a debt, but he's able, but at the moment he may have a debt, because rich people, they have many debts, but they can somewhat have a system to pay it off. Nam, so the person that is ajiz, is unable. Nam, and the second thing that they mentioned, that وَيَكُونَ الدَّيْنِ حَالًا, and that debt is immediate debt. Yeah, the person might have a debt and said, okay, that debt that I have, the person that I have leeway for the next 10 years to pay it off. Then that person is not to be given zakat, because he have ample time to pay it off. It's not something which is immediate upon him. So the person like immediate debt, you understand, that is there, that has to be paid immediately, then that's the person that is being discussed. Those are the condition. He's unable, he doesn't have the means to pay it, and second, it is something which is upon him immediate to be paid off. Not something that can be delayed, or something that it has ample time for him to work out the deal and to pay it off. So that's concerning of those conditions regarding the person of immediate debt, and second, is unable to pay his debt. He doesn't have the means to pay his debt. They discuss concerning those cases regarding the person, regarding that either one, that person can be given zakat, the person of the debtor can be giving zakat directly. So Fulan A is in debt, that if the person is trustworthy enough, and he can give the money directly, and he can go and pay off his dain. Or if you believe that person, that if you want to, rather than giving the money directly, you pay his debtor. Because maybe you understand, to make sure that it is covered. Because that person, yes, he have a debt, but he's not good at money. He's not trustworthy, you understand, to that extent. You understand, he's not that responsible. So it may require that you pay the person directly, not him. Aywa, Adan?
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Alhamdulillah. So, in concerning, continuing regarding al-gharim, that we discussed also that those are those conditions that are attached. So, even concerning the first category regarding that person, that in the first category I mentioned regarding a person who's a mediator, he may be wealthy, but he can give in zakat, as I said, for his task. So, those are concerning those conditions that they mentioned regarding those who have a debt. The case that we find more often is concerning the second category regarding that person of a debt that is owed to others. So it's the own personal debt that is owed to others. We say with a condition that that person that urges and Sidad the Dain is unable to pay off his debt, and also that it is something which is haliyan, his debt is immediate. Then as we mentioned that as for that payment can be done directly through him, he's given the money for him to pay his debt, or the second could be paying his debtor rather than going through him. So those are the means that can be applied accordingly regarding the payment of that debt. Aywa.
The seventh category is that spent in the cause of Allah, such as that given to warriors who volunteer in fighting for the cause of Allah, and they do not take salaries from the public treasury of the Muslims generally. Generally, the phrase "the cause of Allah" refers to the war against the enemies of Muslims, such as Allah exalted He says, "Indeed, Allah loves those who fight in His cause." Surah As-Saff, Ayat 4. And He also says, "Fight in the way of Allah." Surah Baqarah, Ayat 190.
Okay, so the next category mentioned as Asbina Sada, the seventh of those 8 categories regarding those deserving or recipient of zakat. He mentioned fi sabilillah. So regarding concerning, so the seventh are those that are said to be, or that category of people that are said to be fi sabilillah. So regarding concerning fi sabilillah, as mentioned concerning al-jihad, which is concerning mujahid, are those who are fighting the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In a fight up, they are fighting the enemies of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So mujahid is not the Muslim. They might find concerning al-bughat min al-Muslim. So you might find, for example, Muslim, but they are bughat, they are wrongdoers. That the Muslim fighting against them, that is not jihad fi sabilillah. That is not included. So this is concerning al-jihad regarding al-kuffar. Those are the mujahid in this particular case. So can someone clarify regarding that? Regarding are those who said to be mujahid that are deserving of zakat. So regarding concerning payment to that soldier, the mujahid, for weapons and for the things that are needed for war, then all those things are included. So the person being paid also for equipping the person regarding the tools, regarding ammunition, guns, and all those necessary things that are needed for jihad, then he's paid for those things are paid by zakat. So all those things are included. So as for those people that are said to be the mujahid, that you find that one in today's contemporary life, today that we live, that you find that most countries have a standing army, where they get there in the army and they're paid monthly salary, or they're paid. Then that person is not deserving zakat, even if there's so-called jihad. If there's jihad, the person's in the army and he's being paid by the state, then he's not deserving zakat, because you have a regular salary. So the person who are deserving are in this, that is meant by fi sabilillah, are those who are the ones who are doing it voluntary, and they're not a part of the regular army, and they want to fight, and they're fighting fi sabilillah. So those are the ones who are giving zakat. Those are the ones who are giving zakat. So that's concerning that particular matter. Another matter to discuss, that Shaykh, that is discussed between the ulama, that fi sabilillah, that we mentioned that, that it is agreed concern that's for the mujahid. But also some of the ulama mention fi sabilillah, does that also include wujuhul bir, concerning that building a well, building a school, building those type of things. So building a madrasa, building schools, a madrasa schools, building masajid, repairing of masajid, building of walls, and those type of things, is that included? Can that be included fi sabilillah? In a sense of, can we spend zakat, include zakat regarding building a masjid? There's a need for a masjid in this particular location. Can we use money for zakat for this purpose? Or to expand the masjid? Nam? So discussion between the ulama regarding, can fi sabilillah also yashmal, does it includes building these type of things? Nam? To repair the road and the likes. So a khilaf between the ulama. So you have a khilaf between the ulama. Can we include these other things as a part of fi sabilillah? Nam? And the long one says that of those who mentioned that it can be fi sabilillah, can be, those things can be included. Those other things are building madaris, building schools, building these type of institutions that are used by the Muslim, that it can be included. And those who mention that's not the case. It is restricted only for fi sabilillah, matters relating to jihad. And that's a qawl that is correct. That's the qawl that is correct regarding that fi sabilillah is restricted regarding those that is concerning mujahid fi sabilillah. Nam. So regarding building madaris and these likes, zakat money cannot be used for those purposes. Cannot be used for those purposes regarding schools, masajid, building of walls, nam, orphan and those type of thing. Then it is not to be used for that purpose. Nam. So the next thing that they discuss concerning the word fi sabilillah, concerning fi sabilillah meaning jihad. So you have jihad bis silah. So we have jihad of two types. Jihad bil aish with silah, with weapons, meaning fighting. And jihad bid dawah. Jihad bid dawah meaning concerning that matters regarding calling people to Islam. Can we also so there's the next matter. Can al-jihad fi sabilillah includes people who invite others to Islam, be paid for this? So we have a discussion. We have two qawl between the ulama, those who mention yes and those who say no. Shaykh Qatlan, that more of you consider that it can be included regarding jihad fi sabilillah, regarding concerning, so you are fighting with the weapons and also fighting by way of clarifying Islam. Nam, so all that you know that it can be included regarding concerning al-jihad fi sabilillah. So you find that so you have that discussion between the ulama. You have that discussion between the ulama regarding those things. What else can be included regarding fi sabilillah? What else can be included regarding fi sabilillah? And next matter was to be discussed regarding ad-duyun, regarding concern a person of debt. If a person fulfilling a person debt who have died, a person have died and he has debt, can zakat be used to pay for his debt? There's something else to add regarding what we're discussing regarding debt. Those who are indebted. Can a person who have passed on, who have died, Muslim have died, but he has a debt, so his payment of it, can zakat be used for that purpose? Now, you have a khilaf between the ulama on that particular matter. So you find concerning of those who mentioned yajuz al-qada al-duyun al-amwat min al-zakat. So the first view that the person that can be zakat can be used to pay off the person dead who have died. Now, وهو قول عند الشافعية. That's a قول in some of the ulama الشافعية. ووجه عند الحنابلة, and it's a view taken by some of the Hanabila. Nam. وَإِخْتَارَهُ Abu Abbas ibn Taymiyyah, and Shaykh Khatlani mentioned that Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah is of that view. And they can use the word concerning وَغَامِرِينَ, the general words of غَامِرِينَ concerning those who are dead as their dalil, whether the person is alive or dead. That's their general dalil. The second view concerning لَا يُخْضَى دَيْن الْمَيْتِ مِنَ الزَّكَاةِ, that the second view that لَا يُخْضَى, that one cannot pay the person's debt who have died. You cannot pay off the person's debt who have died from the funds of zakat. Naam. And the Shaykh mentioned that وَإِلَيْهِ ذَهَبَ الْحَنَفِيَّةِ وَالْمَالِكِيَّةِ وَالشَّافِعِيَّةِ وَالْحَنَابِلَةِ. So majority of the ulama is of that view. Jumhur of the ulama is that the person who have died and have debt, that zakat funds cannot be used to pay their debts. Naam. And some of the ulama even say that there's an ijma on that matter, but that's not the case. they discuss this, and some of the Ibn Abdul Bar mentioned is that ijma on that topic, that is, cannot be used for that purpose. None, but they mentioned regarding that, that they mentioned Ahmed al la yuqda min zakat dayn al mayt, that one should not pay the person's debt who have died from zakat. And Shaykh Khatlan, Sa'd al-Khatlan rahimahullah, hafidhullah, he mentioned هذا هو قول الراجح, that the second view, that it cannot be used, that's the qawl al-rajih, that's the correct view. So the person who have died and of that, then it can use by way of tabarruk, that's like a general donation, but zakat funds cannot be used to pay off their debt. Zakat cannot be used. So that inshallah ta'ala will end there and continue next week. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه إلى سبيل والآخرة ورحمة العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.